Hi, this is Pete Lyons with Let's Play Salesforce. Today's video is going to be a little bit more on the informal side. A riddle came into the community today that was just too good to pass up, so I did want to spin up a quick video about it, but I didn't put my normal preparation and completeness of vision into it, so try to bear with me on that. Today's riddle is when I embed a dashboard into a Lightning page, I have the ability to pass values from that record into my dashboard as filter criteria. Now, what happens when I do this with a multi-value field? The answer is it breaks horribly, but I think I have found a solution to this problem. So first, let's see the problem in action. Now, I've just got my suggestion box app here that I created with, doing some trailheads, and I added this my multi field to it. So I've got values of A, AB, ABC, and then one that is B only to do a little bit of smoke testing with. So first, let's take a look at this B only, and let's see what happens there. Well, when I try to pass in a multi-value field, we see that it did update, but only because I had a single value selected. By contrast with this one that's got A's and B's, I would expect to see all four of these multi-value ones pop up because it would show me any of my A's or any of my B's. Let's take a look at what happens with this one. And the answer is we're going to get no results found. So now that we have a pretty clear understanding of what's not working, let's do some troubleshooting and some diagnostics to see if we can figure out why it's not working. So let's compare the one where we are getting results with the one that we aren't. Let's look at this guy first and see what's actually happening here. So I see that my multi equals BBB is getting passed in, and the way that's getting passed in is in the form of an array with the in clause, because this is how I specified it in my embedding syntax. So no problem there. What's going wrong on the other one? Let's see what's happening over here. Now at a glance it looks like it should work, AAA comma BBB, but there's a little issue that we have right here. And if I zoom in, notice that these are all on one string, that they're not separated by commas. It's just one value in the array. Now if we hop back to the other one that is working and we add AAA as a filter, update, and open, what do we have that's different here? Flipping back and forth between them. One's got AAA and BBB as separate strings, while the other one has concatenated them together into a single value. And so again, I'm just going to show you this is the one that's not working. If we were to add the quotes in here ourselves and separate it into two different strings, well, yeah, it works fine. So how are we going to actually achieve this? And I did try a few different iterations. For example, I tried passing in like things like AAA quote comma quote BBB, and what happened was it just put escape characters around the quotes, and corrected that, so I was foiled there. What else did I try? Well, then I tried escaping the escape quotes, and what it did was then added another layer of escapes to it. So I needed a better way to get around this. And it certainly isn't a great way, but it does solve the riddle. So the solution's a little ugly, and no, I did not use the Einstein AI Solutions Engineer, but I did get it to work. And the way that I did was by creating a second data set. So let's look at this in practice. What I have right here is I have a data set called options that contains all of the possible combinations of this multi-value field. Then I have basically a list selector that we're going to grab the values out of. So for example, if I was to say BC, I'm only going to see BBB only, number 2 and number 3. If I go to CCC, it'll filter down. And this is being done with some SACL and with some bindings. So this right here, pretty simple, and this is just projecting the list of options. This is what's actually going to receive the filter from the Lightning page. And then the next thing that it does is it passes that up to here. So notice that when we're on a multi-value selection, it just puts in the quotes and the comma delimiter for us. So the way that we're doing this is we're saying, well, first generate just the return of cell 1 of the options. So in other words, give me the multi-value that has actually been received from the lightning page. Then what we do is we just do some find replace on that field to get these commas and quotes and escape characters the way that we need it. So now this lens 1, where else do we use this? It's passed in as the input into our filter in SACWL, and we already have the outermost quote, escape character, and close bracket. So just to walk through that on a dashboard level, it starts with a filter coming to here. Now if I just click on it, that's selection and not results. So this little pick list right here is to help you visualize this is the selection being passed in from the lightning page. So this is what we actually receive, and then we use some SACWL find replace to add the quotes in between our values. Then we pass that into the filter parameters on here, and we're doing it in SACWL to add some buffer characters. So what are the next steps for this design to get it to be more solvent and reusable in a broader scope? Well, let's take care of the easy one first. I'm using 2 different steps here when I probably could only use one. I'm passing my option that I'm receiving from my filter up to this SACWL step that's adding those extra quotes for me in the escape characters, and then I'm passing that over as a filter into a different SACWL step. I could almost definitely guarantee this can be combined into one, so that would make for a little bit cleaner code. But now the real elephant in the room here is that in order to achieve this, I had to create a data set with every single combination of options. And I didn't even account for whether or not the system will think AB is different from BA, which it probably does. Now, what if I had 20 options in my pick list? Well, now I have hundreds of combinations instead of, a fistful. What if I need to add an option to this pick list? Now I have to recreate that whole data set of every possible combination again. Could you do this with some Excel foo? Could you do this with some sort of ETL process, a transformation in the data flow? Probably, to get it to maintain itself, but we cannot directly extract the object that contains pick list values. So we would need a place to surface that. We could store this as a static step on the dashboard to make it a little easier to access. That should still work instead of a separate data set. But again, if we start talking about 20 or more options in your pick list, you now have hundreds of combinations, not just a dozen. So that's the solution for today. Were we able to solve our riddle and filter our Lightning embedded dashboard based on a MultiSelect pick list? Yes. Unfortunately, it did expose another riddle, which is how are we supposed to do that without a data set that contains all options available? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it left you in a better state than you started in as far as it pertains to trying to tackle this solution. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and as always, thanks for watching.